Let's continue to this now. Professor Caesar Nongqunga has been announced as the new president of the African Transformation Movement, replacing Vuyolwethu Zungula. The party announced the move in a statement, citing that the decision was made by the National Executive Committee to separate the roles of party advocacy and organisational building. Now, Zungula will focus on the ATM's parliamentary duties, whilst Nongqunga will focus on the party's growth. Zungula has been president of the ATM for 7 years. Nongqunga is the spiritual leader and the founder of the party. The ATM has thanked Zungula for his service. Let's now bring in political reporter, Natasha Phiri in studio with us. Natasha, of course, this is quite a surprise move for the ATM. I mean, what can you talk to us about, the reasoning behind this particular replacement of Vuyolwethu Zungula?
Well, thank you so much, Unaiti. So you've just read out parts of that statement that was released by the ATM, and I spoke to Zamachona earlier on, the ATM's spokesperson, and in the statement they actually say that, as you've correctly cited in the introduction, the NEC had actually decided then to separate those roles. So according to our understanding as SABC News, Vuyolwethu Zungula will be focusing on the parliamentary side of things of the party, and of course the now president, Mr. Caesar Nongqunga, I hope I pronounced it correctly, is now the president and will focus on the growth of the party. But a lot of people have been asking themselves who Mr. Caesar Nongqunga actually is. You would know that the ATM Unity was founded in 2018. Now, this is the spiritual leader and founder of, the party. As you know, that the party was actually backed by the South African Council of Messianic Churches. So he is basically, Mr. Nongqunga is the spiritual leader of TACC, the 12 Apostles Church of Christ. So he'll be focusing on the growth as we're actually leading to the local polls of the party. But, a lot of speculation around the future of Zungula. Yes, the party has said that he's going to focus on parliament, but others have hinted that could he perhaps jump ship, go to MK party and be the Secretary General of the MK? And this also in the context that both the MK party and the ATM, remember, Unity have now that cooperation between the two parties. They will be working hand in hand together ahead of the local government elections, next year. And I recall earlier on this year at the last press briefing that we actually attended when Floyd Shibambu was still the Secretary General, I'd asked how this relationship is going to work, and they've indicated that no party would actually swallow one another. But for instance, for example, in a by-election, if the MK is actually standing in a certain by-election, then it would mean that members of the ATM would actually vote for that particular MK candidate, and vice versa, Unity.
And I mean, just talking about how instrumental Vuyolwethu Zungula was to the ATM party, and you've of course cited the local government elections of next year, it does become very, questionable in terms of just the reasoning behind this. I mean, we know that Vuyolwethu Zungula is also a lawyer by training, but he was instrumental in founding the ATM. One wonders then, what is going to be the shift when he does then step down as the leader. Any insights into perhaps the rationale for the leadership structure of the ATM?
Well, Nancy, they've cited that perhaps Mr. Nongqunga would be perhaps, better placed in growing the structures of the party, and Mr. Zungula would be better placed perhaps in Parliament. I did try call him, unfortunately he didn't answer me, but on his WhatsApp status he had indicated that he thanks the opportunity that he was given to actually serve. Also in the statement, the party also does thank him for his work. He's been quite instrumental, in his role in Parliament. Unity, of course, you know that the ATM is part of the Progressive Caucus. The last time I had a conversation with him was earlier on this year, and this was in relation to the private members bill that he had actually sponsored in Parliament. Of course, this bill is actually aimed at exposing foreign agents who are hiding behind the ban of NGOs and civil society. As you know, that he's been at the helm of the party for 7 years, advocated issues around, illegal immigration in Parliament, and is lauded as one of those sound politicians that have actually raised critical issues, amongst lawmakers in the party. Would be interesting to see, him growing in Parliament, or him actually focusing on his duties in Parliament, if anything is actually to go by that. But I guess we'll just have to wait for him. I do know that Vuyolwethu Zungula will be speaking to us later on, so it'd be interesting to hear what he actually has to say, especially leading up to the local government elections, like you cited.
Absolutely, Natasha, thank you so much for that. Of course, Natasha Phiri just unpacking that breaking news story for us. Professor Caesar Nongqunga has been announced as the new president of the African Transformation Movement, replacing, of course, Vuyolwethu Zungula. We'll wait to see what he then has to say when he does speak to the SABC a little bit later on.